It's time we start with the post-breakfast first panel discussion session on AI-powered customer experience automation, a game-changing technology. Before I call on the esteemed honorable panel members on stage, few points of discussion which this panel is going to highlight. Challenges in delivering a great CX in today's digital world. The artificial intelligence, machine learning, and NLP, the new age of technology used in customer experience. How artificial intelligence and chatbots are changing the CX landscape in NBFC and many more. So please help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable panel members in the order of the sequence. Joining us first in the panel, Mr. Sanjay Jaiswal, Head of Application and IT Security from Nuvama Wealth. A big round of applause to Sanjay ji. Sanjay ji, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Karthikeyan Krishnaswamy, co-founder and CTO from KreditBee. A big round of applause to Karthikeyan ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Shreevar Narayan, Chief Technology Officer from Ecofy. A big round of applause to Mr. Narayan. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. And now I would like to call on the honorable moderator of the panel, Ms. Mandakini Kumari, Chief Product Officer from Vivriti Capital. A big round of applause to Mandakini ji. Welcome to the panel, madam. Please have your seat. Now, all over to you, Mandakini ji. Looking forward to a great panel session.
Hello. Am I audible? Yep. Great. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, to all the participant and organizer who has organized a wonderful event, sponsors who has spent so much time and effort to make a wonderful event. So I'm moderator for today this discussion. And before moving forward, I will introduce myself. I am Mandakini, Chief Product Officer at Vivriti Capital. Vivriti Capital engaged in multiple verticals, which includes co-lending finance, supply chain finance, institutional lending, and alternative investment fund. I bring 2-decade experience in software development and worked on multiple verticals, retail, lot of medical industries, and the last 7 years I'm into the finance sector. So with this, we have a wonderful panel members, and we'll start with introduction of the panel members. So we'll start first with Sanjay. Sanjay would like to know more about you, and from there we can take it.
Hello everyone. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to have provide insight, and thanks Inex Group as well for giving me this platform. I'm Sanjay Jaiswal. I work for Nuvama Wealth Management, formerly known as Edelweiss Wealth Management. I head cybersecurity function and the application security for Nuvama Wealth. In overall, I have around 18+ years of experience into the cybersecurity, and like working previously with MNCs, Indian companies into the financial companies, product domain, health and public sector. So a small summary about me. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Sanjay. Karthikeyan, I think he's a CTO and serial entrepreneur. So Karthikeyan, maybe give more insight about you.
A very good morning to all of you. So anyways, I think Ms. Mandakini has introduced my name. So I am Karthikeyan. So I'm CTO co-founder at KreditBee. What we do at KreditBee is that we provide loans and financial services to middle class India, right? And as the people are growing, we are trying to basically provide more different types of loans. So there are approximately around 40 different types of loans. I think we probably cover only 1 or 2 types of those loans. So our idea is to expand our portfolio of loan servicing that we can do to cater for all the aspirations of middle class India. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Karthikeyan. Shreevar, I think next participant is the Shreevar. Please share your insight.
Thanks, Mandakini. So good morning, everyone. I'm Shreevar Narayan, so I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Ecofy. A brief about Ecofy. It's a new age tech-driven NBFC. We have been into business for last 1 year. And we are very green focused. So having said that, we finance electric vehicles, two-wheeler, three-wheeler. We finance rooftop solar and MSMEs who want to green technology, right? So this is a topic which is very, very close to my heart always. And I am privileged to be part of this panel. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks. Since this topic is more customer experience and how key challenges we are facing in the customer, like serving the better customer experience. So I would like to start with highlighting what are the key challenges, Karthik, you feel as of today in the customer experience and what can be bring to the panel?
So, see, it's a very broad segment, right? Customer experience. So it's very difficult, as in, see, the customer experience is dependent on a lot of factors, right? We have to understand that location varies in, right? As in, he might be in a remote location where some of the internet services, etc., are not up to speed. So this is a very good example in the sense that we always ask some of the members, I keep asking, what is the issue? And then he says, sir, it is loading in my app, right? But unfortunately, it is not loading in the customer's app, right? So these are some of the small things that keeps happening. And this is the first aspect of customer experience, right? Availability of the service, right? Whether the services are available to the customer at a speed at which basically he is acceptable with, right? If you keep continuously loading the app, then he will be like, what is this? The app just keeps loading. And then after 2 or 3 times, probably you've lost the customer, right? So, so it's a very broad segment. This is just one part of the experience that is there. That is when, whenever he is trying to use the app. But in terms of the experience as such, if you look at it, each and every aspect of the way in which he interacts with you as a product, as a post-product experience, as a pre-product experience, the journey that goes through basically getting the product, etc., is an overall experience, right? And you have to really, really slice it and dice it and see the aspects of which basically what is happening there in terms of to the actual customer, and solve it or make it more easy. So one of the ways in which we do it is that we have a funnel analysis kind of things, right? As in we see that, okay, 100 customers came in, so many customers dropped, and then so many customers have gone to the next step of the things. So many customers have delayed this from going from step 1 to step 2. So you look at day 1 lag, day 2 lag, day 3 lag, etc., right, kind of things. So all these are various different aspects with which you can get a, visible way in which the customer is experiencing your product. And you need to talk to the customers, do a survey kind of things, understand what is the issue at each step, and then try to kind of like negate that issue that he is facing, right? As I said, it's a very broad segment. I think we can keep talking about it for probably days together about what are the experiences that is there. But idea is that with technology and digitization that is there, we can get a numberized view of what is happening on your product and try to solve that and make sure that the customer is experiencing more basically a seamless and a smooth journey and a happy journey through your product. Thank you.
Great, great, Karthik. So Karthik highlighted like, of course, India is booming in digital platform, and when we are growing towards digitally, we are building the technology, and while building, we face, customer face the challenges, and they reach us in different stages. So yeah, it's great insight. Shreevar, how your organization face the key challenges in user experience in the today's digital era?
Sure. So as Karthikeyan said, customer experience is a very, very broad topic, right? And especially for NBFCs, right, it's very, very difficult to get to each and every nook and corner of the country, right? While the NBFCs do cater to the non-bank segments of the population, but at the same time, reaching those areas is difficult, right? So customer experience, so the first challenge is how do we move from a people-centric customer experience to an institution-centric customer experience, right? So when I say that, traditionally with banks, right, it's more people are connected to the relationship managers, right? Today, that person is there in the organization, tomorrow that person is not there in the organization, right? So how do we make that shift from a people-centric experience to an institution-centric experience? Second, how do we make use of technology, right? All the different channels wherein customers can interact with the institution, right? How do we, give a seamless experience to the customers across all these channels, right? So in my view, these are the broad areas or the challenges. Third, very, very important is now the customer, wishes to see what they want at the first go, right? They don't want to, if suppose they call up your customer care, right? They don't want to browse through the entire many options, click 1, click 2, click 3, and then reach to the place where they want to, right? So they want the solution in the first hand and a relevant solution to be there on the preferred channel of communication, right? So in my view, these are the top 3 challenges.
Great, Shreevar. So you are saying as a product or as an organization, we have to think more about user experience, how our product should be built. It should reduce the steps. Instead of keeping 10 steps, 100 fields, filling the form, reduce and give better customer experience. Yeah, great. What's your thought, Sanjay? What are the key challenges you face in customer experience in the digital world?
So I will just take here a bit of technology use as well. So though we are seeing that we have evolved with the technology of AI, ML, generative AI, chatbots, but still I'm finding a challenge where as Shreevar says that lots of steps and lots of click has to be there if you have resolution. So I have the similar experiences with across multiple platforms. Not only I will say the NBFC, banking or finance, but across all the industry. So if you call up kind of like, and I will just take an example, you just call on any customer service as an IVR. If you want to talk to a customer care, it will take you almost around like 3 to 4 minutes to reach the customer care. And before that, you have to go all the options, like almost you will key in around at least 5 or 6 buttons, and then you will get into the customer care. And again, the long wait of the queue. And upon explaining your queries, finally you will come to know that you have to visit the office, maybe a branch or an office to resolve your issues. So that is what customer experience improvise required, and the key challenges, what I'm understanding, needs to have the improvise. Yeah, there is something the benefited and the good point as well. The way we are now doing a KYC, opening bank accounts, applying for a credit cards, it can be happen within a few minutes. So similar way like this, experience has to be even resolved in less time. So the key challenge, what I'm expecting is the less efforts as well as in no time. So no time will not be the possible, but in very less time. So that is what I will say. So increasing of the technology, but customer experience somewhere I'm not finding is upgrading at that level, the way technology is upgrading.
Very true. So I think it's complementing his word, like he's saying reduce the steps, reduce the customer effort. You are adding on top of that, like use KYC and like KYC kind of information. If we are fetching data through KYC, 50% of the data would get filled in the form and which automatically reduce the steps. So it's complementing to each other. Great, great insight, Sanjay. Coming to Karthikeyan. So Karthikeyan, in KreditBee, I understand it's data, you are making a lot of data-driven decision. How you are leveraging customer insight, customer preferences Because at the end, when we talk AI-powered CX automation, data is the key thing, and customer preferences, again, a very important thing. So how you use those things at your org?
Okay, so at KreditBee, what happens is that most of the decisions, right, 99.99% of the decisions are data-driven, right? As in we don't take subjective decisions based on the experience that we go through, because as such, we are whatever we are experiencing, at least within the organization and with the limited set of friends and family that is there, it forms a very biased view of what is really happening, because my parents use my app basically in a very environment which is there is a good internet connection, etc., right? So so to remove the bias, you need data, and that is the only way that basically you can really understand what is happening across all your customers, right? And even then, within your customers, you have different levels: P50, P75, P90, P99, etc., right? To understand more and more fine-tune what is happening basically there. So you probably want to decrease the impact of, or the changes, the delta that is happening at P50 and P99, you probably would want to do that, so that that's where you can say that 99% of your customers are experiencing the same thing, right? This is all data-driven. So this data, kind of what happens is that it feeds into the other supporting technologies, which is primarily chatbots, AI-driven, etc., right, and all these things. So when I say about customer experience, we look at the data very much in depth. Different slicing and dicing happens. We see what is really the pain point, right, of the customer. How do we basically reduce that pain point, right? We tweak something here. It's like, you know, our Indian roads, we build a flyover. We are just shifting the road jam from one place, point A to point B. But the idea is that that should not happen with our customers. So we probably have to give them a smooth highway is what it is, right? And obviously different branches, because you would finally reach a destination, but there are different ways of reaching it, because all our customers are different in their unique aspects. So all these things basically results in terms of customer support. So we that is the first angle of it, right? The way the customer interacts with it. That is your pre-loan journey or pre-service journey. The other aspect is that post your services, we also need to further look at how your customers are interacting with your systems, what are the issues that you are facing, etc. And for that, you kind of need to leverage on the customer support team really extensively and understand what are the issues the customers are facing, and then try to solve it. As in, so with respect to that, that feeds back into your product team, and in terms of a feature enhancement that you can give it in your app itself, so that then the customers can self-service themselves, right? So these are all different ways. Obviously, when AI-based things come in, then it becomes more like chatbots and things like that, which can really infer the question that is happening, because each person has a different way of asking the questions, different languages in which they can ask. And we need to kind of normalize that into something which the system can understand and then respond to in the language that he or she is basically asking about, right? And the question that she is asking about. So this is primarily where the modern day chatbots, the chatbots have kind of democratized the way in which we can basically interact with the customer, etc., right? And they are also building in the AI capabilities, so multi-language, inferencing the question that is there, etc., is making the job easier, right? But that doesn't mean that we have to leave it across to these tools. We have to have a, what I would say is a very minute detail. There needs to be a separate team which kind of looks at the entire customer experience as such it is there, and see what are the different pain points, etc., and then kind of solve each and every pain point. The idea is that you continuously keep improving, and then probably across a year or two, you have a seamless customer journey. So if you ask me now, other issues that customers are facing, obviously there are issues, because I keep seeing my L3 team basically pinging issues, which is there saying that such a customer is facing such an issue kind of thing, and so on and so forth. So till those kind of issues die down, that means that your customer experience is probably the best. Even then, you can continuously improve. So it never stops. continuously look at it, look at the data points, feed it into the systems that can be brought up to automatically serve the customers, and then further new problems will come in, look at that, solve that. It's a continuous process. It never ends, actually. Yeah, thank you.
Great, great. Thanks. I think a lot of insightful informations Karthik has given, like a chatbot, 24/7 support, anything, either payment, EMI repayment, or any support. So that's really great insight, Karthikeyan. Next, Shreevar, how generative AI will help NBFC? I need your insight on that.
So that's the buzzword these days, generative AI. So typically, see this traditional AI, which are prevalent these days, right? So these are trained on specific data and to perform specific tasks, right? So they do it very intelligently. What they are not able to do is generate new contents, generate something new which is more human-like, and that has been solved by generative AI. Okay, so there are a lot of discussions, a lot of research papers that you will see around what the applications of generative AI in NBFCs, right from your loan applications to your underwriting, to your collections, to your fraud control, etc., right? So, but I believe there are two use cases which are very, very directly linked to the customers and could actually create difference, right, in the lives of the customers directly, wherein they interact with the institution, right? One I believe is the first stage, which is the loan application form, right? There has to be a stage wherein there has to be a zero typing application form, right? It should only be using generative AI and NLP. The customer should be able to talk to the system in their own language, right? And with the help of generative AI and NLP, right, they get a very contextual and very human-like response from the systems. I was attending one of the Microsoft conferences, right, wherein they actually gave a demo on a person interacting with the bots in a Hindi language. The bot was actually using NLP, transforming it into English, running the the code behind, and putting a very contextual response, or giving a very contextual response to the customer in the customer's language, right? So that's the difference that generative AI can make. Second, which I clearly see, is the post-disbursement aspects of customer servicing. Like Karthikeyan said, right now these chatbots are there, right, which are wherein these chatbots are multilingual, very vernacular, right? The generative AI will be an icing on the cake, right, wherein the customers can type anything, right? The chatbots right now, mostly the key challenge is again the menu driven, and second, very keyword driven. So that will go away with generative AI, right? You type anything, the bot is going to understand, the bot is going to give you a relevant response, right? It's still in the very nascent stages to be explored, but I believe using generative AI, this will be a game changer, right? So that's what the two areas which I believe generative AI could be a real game changer in NBFC's customer experience space.
So Manan, I will just add one point here. So we are evaluating a tool on using generative AI for our customer experience and for the customer service, where generative AI or the tool will hear the conversations, verbal communication or maybe a chat communication, and depending upon the customer's behavior, generative AI will provide you the response. Now what you have to say to the customer. So it's kind of like a hint. Generative or the tool will be providing, though you have to talk to the customer, but it will provide like how aggressive the customer is, like whether he is into completely a bad mood and how you can handle the customer. So that is what generative AI can help in enhancing the customer experience. So tool will try to understand what is the actual requirement, because sometimes it happens that customer wants A and we try to understand that he might be required something kind of like a B or C. So sometimes we are missing that actual points. So here generative AI can be used, and the same we are evaluating. But as I said, it's a generative AI which completely works on the data science, machine learning. So it cannot be implemented just say in the few weeks of time. It will require a lot of data as well as a lot of analysis. So it is going to take time. So it's not going to just implement it in just few couple of months. So we have to just wait and watch how the industry will work on that. And the same we are evaluating.
Great, great. Nice. I think it's a good insight. As in fact, previous panel discussion, we were talking like, let generative AI or let AI handle the low skill work, like form filling or doing the routine work, and let human handle the more intelligent work. So that's the outcome coming from both of you, Sanjay and Shreevar. Great. Sanjay, can you highlight how we are going towards like a lot of AI, ML? Everything brings with a lot of pro and cons. You are from the compliance and security. How these changes, these technology implementation handle the regulatory tech, red tech and super tech? How you as a security team you handle it, and how you suggest to this audience do, don't?
Yeah, so when it comes to regulatory and compliance, especially the senior management's ears gets up. So it's a very tricky to manage the compliance and the regulatory, because if you will see nowadays like RBI, SEBI, they have now come up with almost every month, they send some kind of like a guidelines that you have to follow this, you have to follow this. If you are fall into this category, please follow this and submit the report. So from the traditional way of managing the cyber security or the information security is now completely getting changed and getting at the advanced level with these guidelines. But at the same time, the penalties from the regulatory bodies is also a high. As an example, I will say a DPDP Act, okay, which has been just recently launched. So still it has to be enforced, which has not been done as of now. So considering all these things, especially for the lending firm or the finance firm, it will going to be a very tricky when it comes to a data. Okay, so kind of like a erasing of a data, storing of a data from the regulatory requirement, data localization, managing of data. If anything got breached, and then they're managing their penalties. So this is somewhat I'm finding a very difficult task to manage at this point of time. And also from the safety point of view, if you will see, though we are working on the AI, ML, this technologies completely work on the data. So at this point of time, security of the data, so data privacy, data protection is at very topmost for every organization, irrespective, I will say a small firm or small company or a big size firm or big size company. So it will going to be a topmost for all the companies for the data protection and the data privacy. At the same time, our internal security checks, internal compliance, so that has to be there. When I combine this with the technology, so every time it comes with the pros and the cons. Okay, so technologies are coming, helping the customer, helping the company to grow, to get more profit. But just one mistake, you will get completely ruined. So your impact on the business, reputation of the company may go down because of one data breach or one cybersecurity attack. So even internal security of your infrastructure applications to be on the priority. And as I said, like regulators are very on the top on this. So basically, data. So again, I'm saying just data privacy and data protection, information security has to be there to protect the information.
Great, great. So it's always like mouse and cat. We have to be balanced. We have to be very active or aggressive towards engaging client more. Customer engagement, customer experience should be high. Again, on the same time, we have to balance the regulatory and supervisory, how to take this, again, balancing this and invest on that side also. So that's a really good point on those end. Karthikeyan, how do you think how this AI, ML, machine learning and this new technology will help user experience and what kind of activities or product you have built in your organization for same?
Okay. So in terms of technology, just to give a background, what I would say is that when you talk about AI, ML, etc., right? AI is just basically an activity or an action that happens on top of some of the ML models, etc., right? So that's where it takes some decision, and that's when the artificial intelligence of taking the decisions comes in. But in terms of the overall overarching activities, what happens is that definitely without technology, we wouldn't be here at the place that what we are at right now, right? So I think some time back I was just talking that broadly the technology is a more layered approach. With each layer, basically, what I would say is that in terms of the benefit that is brought about to the next layer, it is multiple magnitudes of order in terms of the functionality that it can be provided. So internet, 3G, cloud technology, internet forms the base layer, cloud and 3G, 4G, 5G technologies forms the second layer, third layer being APIs and services that are offered as APIs, right? So on top of these things, now what happens is that you can leverage any of your functionalities, right? And if you're providing an AI service, you can deploy it as an API and then it can be integrated into your workflow in a very easy manner, right? So, but coming to the actual aspects of what actually is happening is that it helps in basically doing a lot of this manual activities that happens. Basically, you can do it in an automated way, right? As in this again ties in with the earlier thing that we were talking about, customer experience, where as in you look at the aspect of how long does it take to basically approve a customer, or how long does it take to confirm that whether all the documents, the PAN card, whether the ID document and the address proof document are all basically matching, right? So this is where AI comes in to some extent, in the sense that you have to extract the face out of the photo. That is one technology that you need to do. And then once you have to do this seamlessly across all the types of photos that keep coming, right? So sometimes a photo can have multiple faces, or you could be standing in front of a TV and taking this thing, you get a screenshot of your TV, there could be a serial running behind where there are multiple faces. You need to reject those kind of, photos, right? So all these are different variants that happens basically in terms of the aspects or the submissions, the data submissions or the image submissions that happen to your system. And manually doing it is possible, but the scale at which you want to do and the scale at which we have to support the India as such, right? The number of people that is there, it's frankly impossible to do it manually, right? This is where I think we are at the right time and the right place, right location, etc., and in the right aspect of the digitization journey, where the government has also provided or has given us ample support in terms of digitizing the entire journey, that you can really put these things to play, right? So systems basically are extracting faces, comparing the faces. You're comparing the faces across multiple applications because you don't want the same guy coming multiple times into your system to take loans, etc., right? So fraud and these things, angles are where these things plays a lot in terms of the loan origination or things like that, right? Post-loan origination, in terms of basically providing additional services to the customer is where you have to work on with the aspects of the data aspects that the customer has provided, and your systems run and then come and tell what are the products that can be cross-sell, you can cross-sell to him, right? As in, that's when you get a uptick in the revenue that you can generate from the same customer, because your customer is already acquired, right? Your CAC comes down for that product. And the other aspect is that customer support, how you can do it, as in terms of servicing the customer in terms of basically what are the questions that he's asking. That's also another aspect where there's AI and all those things can run. ML is more traditional in terms of, let's say that in terms of taking of, it's not as slightly dynamic as AI. When I say AI, generative AI, etc. is there, which generates content based on each customer specific needs. But ML is more traditional in the sense that you are trying to categorize your customers, or you're trying to basically segment your customers in different ways and come up with certain aspects of the customer you understand and try to decide which are the products you want to give him, right? So that is there. And these services are maturing more and more, right? Because they are also self-learning, and then we are providing the feedback to these systems over time, right? So these things are getting fine-tuned, and we need to keep using this and keep going on with this fine-tuning process, because everybody else is also doing the same thing, right? As in along similar lines. And the amount of fine-tuning, the amount of, this is something like you are saying your car, you buy a car, you don't service it for 5 years, one fine day it's just going to break down, right? But let's say you keep servicing it every 6 months or every 1 year, you generally not face any problem. So similar to that, here also we need to keep fine-tuning the systems, keep increasing the percentage points where the success rates are increasing, etc., and that would lead to a drastic change in the way the customers experience your product, and the drastic way in which you can understand the customer better and provide services to the customer, right? So we are in that journey. I wouldn't say the journey is fully done, but it's a continuous improvement process that we have to do. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Karthik. I would like to hear from Shreevar how AI, ML, machine learning for great user experience or chatbot you are using at your organization. What kind of benefit you see on your ROI, or what kind of either customer satisfaction or business growth? So how do you?
Okay. We being a new age NBFC, so when we have just started our business, and especially for our rooftop solar business segment, we are catering to the customer segment which are kind of very vernacular. Okay, so most of our rooftop solar customers are from the remote locations of Gujarat, right? So for example, somebody is planning to put a rooftop solar on the top of an atta chakki, right? So those kind of people, they are not very conversant in English, right? So there has the chatbots or the AI assistants that we are building, there has to be very, very vernacular, right? The customer should be comfortable talking in their own vernacular language, and we should be able to communicate with the customer conveniently, right? So right now what we have done is we have implemented a chatbot and a WhatsApp-based bot, and we are putting multiple languages over there. We have put live chats with our customer service agents to start with, because right now we believe giving click options to the customers will actually not give a good customer experience. So what we have done is we have put live chats wherein one agent can handle multiple chats, and the customers can type in their own language, which gets translated into English. The customer service agents are seeing those chats in English. They are responding in English, which gets again translated into their vernacular language, and then customer sees it on their mobile phones, right? So that's how AI is helping us in the chatbot. Second aspect is one of the sentiment analysis. When the customers talk to us over phone, or they talk to us over the chats, we do a sentiment analysis that helps us in understanding the customer more. So next time when a customer talks to us, through the chatbots or the assistants, we exactly know what has been the customer's sentiment when the customer has spoken to us before or reached out to us before. And then we can put relevant responses to the customers in real time, right? So some of these are in the making, but that's the thought process is while we are implementing the customer experience seamlessly.
Great, great. Shreevar, I think looks like Shreevar is always customer-centric, customer first, customer empathy, and that's what he always think, how to reduce customer effort and make seamless user journey. Being the product manager, even I always have same thing in my mind. Customer empathy is the first thing, and how to reduce or how to optimize the product and user journey. So that's really great insight. Before going to next, I would like to take some questions from the audience. Any questions for us? Otherwise, we can take from here panel. So any questions, audience?
Do we have any question? Yeah, I think we have one question. Sir, I request you to keep the hand raised and kindly introduce yourself and the organization from where you are. And question to which specific panel member? If it is a generic, I think Mandakini ji can decide which panel member to give the question.
Sure, yeah.
Hi, my name is Hardik Vyas and I'm representing Aditya Birla Capital. My question is to Karthikeyan sir. What are what is your take on the Indian NBFC or the any of the lender or the banks on implementing micro expression systems? So there are few multinational organizations implementing this kind of scenarios in the customer experience. People are trying to identify the patterns using the their first phase on the loan application forms or just the word hello. From that, they are trying to identify the fraud associated with that customer. So what are the take of these Indian companies on this particular micro expression segment?
Okay, so just to rephrase the question, what you're saying is that in terms of the way the customers talk to us, get the sentiment analysis or get the expressions out of it, and basically decide whether the customer is, what do you call it, doing it with the intention of fraud or not. Is that right?
Sentiment analysis could be a bigger thing, but this micro expression is very tiniest thing that people are exploring outside India.
Okay. Okay, so frankly speaking, I think probably if I say we are doing it, then I will be lying it, right? As in, we are probably doing some steps of exactly the same thing, right? Because what happens is that the entire chat aspect, basically what happens there is that it is very two-dimensional. It's a single dimension is what I would say, right? As in, we have to look at the different aspects of the dimensions of data that you get, right? In chat, it becomes basically, so what we do there is that we see what the customer is actually typing and retyping. So a very good example is basically the way in which how long the customer takes to enter the mobile number, right? So if in the mobile entry field, a customer is entering, let's say my number is 12345678990, right? So if he's doing 123, then backspace, then 234, backspace. So that gives a good indicator of, that's a micro expression, what I would say that is happening there, right? So in terms of the aspects of basically what the customer is trying to enter into the data fields, that is something that we are capturing and what we work on and what we see basically with respect to the intention of what the customer is trying to do, right? But on a chat basis, we don't do it, right? That's why I was telling that on a chat aspect we don't do, but on a loan origination system or loan application system where the customer is trying to fill the data fields, we kind of see what the customer is actually trying to fill and whether he's trying to correct it to a very great extent, right? So this is also another aspect where I think you have to collect it and then see the delta aspect of what has happened. And this form feeds into the variables. So for each customer, we have approximately around 25,000 variables. And this would be a number which is from 0 to 9 or 0 to 1. And that number value would increase as the customer keeps trying to redo the same thing, right? So, and then there are customers who put the full number and then try to get the OTP. We see whether the OTP is auto-filled from the same mobile or not. So then we understand that, okay, this is not his primary mobile, there's some other mobile where he's getting the OTP. Things like that. These are all different aspects that comes in, but on the chat basis, we don't do per se.
Okay, so exploring the customers' interaction patterns, right?
Yeah, so that what we're trying to do is that, as I said, it's very it's a single dimension. Video KYC, where we do is where we are trying to do some of these things, right? Trying to understand basically the language he's speaking and all those things, because we have a lot more data points there than on a chat, right? So we record the video, we can do post-processing analysis of the video and all those things, and try to see if we can get some metrics out of basically what the customer is actually doing or intending to do. But these all form kind of sentiments. It will finally come with a sentiment score. One of the sentiments will be possibility of fraud or intention of fraud, and then that number would change actually. Yeah.
So would be all about training our data models and fine-tuning it on a way forward.
So yeah, as in you have to obviously train your models and get it done. Yeah, you would probably not have something built out of the box. You have to use some things that is there available, and then you have to correlate it with the data that you already have, because anyways all your customers' data is there, and then you need to train your model. Obviously you have to find your the training set, and then you have to have your test set also, right? So both of them, as in you have successful cases where customers have gone through video KYC and they have prepaid or they have paid on time, and there are customers who have done the same thing but they have not paid it. So you need to then understand how your model is working out. Yeah.
That results.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. In fact, really good question. And only thing here is we need a lot of data. First, we need a lot of data to analyze, train the data model, and it's a good question.
I think we have one question. Sir, if you can raise the hand, we'll get the mic.
Hi, I'm Vikas Agarwal, representing CreditFair. My question to Shreevar, Ecofy. I mean, you guys are working for rooftop solar. So how you are capturing the data of electricity generation and how the technology is helping into it?
Okay, that's a very good question, and that's also one of the problems that we are trying to solve, right? So the biggest challenge today for us in our rooftop solar journey, while we have a completed digital journey for rooftop solar, but the problem that we are facing is the capturing the installation address of the customer. The easiest solution is we ask the customer to type it, right? Which actually customer is doing right now when we are fetching the address from the UIDAI or SARSAI. We ask a question to the customer whether this is the installation address or not. If not, it has to be typed by the customer and the electricity bill has to be uploaded. But then there is a manual leg involved that somebody has to check, the operations has to check it, right? What we have done right now is we have integrated with the discoms, right? While again, there are challenges that out of 60 discoms, only 36 have APIs available, right? And even though if you get a response, sometimes the address is not complete. While the electricity bill that is uploaded, right, it has the complete address, right? So now what we are trying to do is, another solution is, again, we are trying to use AI, right? We are trying to read that electricity bill. Again, the challenge comes here is, all the 60 discoms have different electricity bill formats. Some of them are very, very vernacular, right? Some of them don't even have a tag which is called as address, right? It's just a placeholder in the electricity bill. So we are trying to use AI. We are trying to read the electricity bill, fetch the data out of it. If it is vernacular, do an NLP, translate into English, and then use it as an installation address. Plus, we also take the customer name and we match it with the primary applicant of the customer, right? So that's one level of check that we are working on, but the electricity bill API is already live and working.
Thank you. I think we had one more question from the gentlemen there. Yeah.
Good afternoon, panelists. First of all, thanks for a very insightful discussion. To introduce myself, Pawan Goyal. I come from the banking background with 15 years of experience in multiple banks, ICICI, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan. My question is more to the Karthik sir and the Mandakini. It is more from an internal customer perspective. So we have been talking about the external customer, but the internal customers being the sales team, the risk team.
Sorry,
Your
you're not
sound is
very
little low.
clear.
Oh,
Could you just
sorry.
speak a bit more loudly?
So my question is more from an internal customer perspective, which could be your sales team, risk teams, regulatory reporting teams and all. And all these people are now talking about or listening about Gen AI, chat GPTs and all. And my question is whether there is a demand or the ask from your internal employees to leverage this technology into helping their day-to-day working when they are interacting with the data, asking questions in natural language and all. And if yes, then what are the challenges from a implementation perspective, you being the tech leaders? Because exposing your enterprise data out to the chat GPT models and all, which is not generally the feasible case. So would like to listen to your thoughts, Karthik sir and Mandakini ma'am.
See, more than your internal customers, right? I think the whatever the CXO level people need to be really up to mark with respect to this, right? So with respect to internal customers, definitely there can be a lot of, so there is a difference between needs and wants, right? So you need to be very clear with respect to that. I feel at least basically at the board level or whatever it is there is definitely a need to do these things, because finally what this does is that it helps in the business metrics of the things, right? So definitely there are activities that is going on, right? So if you would look at it, let's say that there are different arms of the entire organization. At least in KreditBee, what happens is that we have a technology division, we have a customer support division, we have an operations department, we have a marketing department, so on and so forth, right? You need to basically be aware of as to with the least, the Pareto, this thing, right? 20% activities, 80% benefits, what you can get, and where are the costs associated with that, and by doing this, what is the cost that I'm going to benefit is what we have to look at, right? So at my KreditBee, what happens is that, so generative AI and all these things are being used by the engineering people, right? As a coding assistant is what I would say. So what that helps is that basically my engineer becomes productive from, let's say 100% if he's productive as of now, he might become 120%, 130%, 140%. Those are the numbers that we have to look at, right? So when you, so it helps in doing a lot of these things in terms of maybe not even actual coding, but in terms of doing the other supplementary activities like unit testing and automation testing and all those things. The code generation for that, the engineering teams can do, right? Marketing side is something that you can look at how you can generate the textual content and all those things in a more easier way. These are on POCs. Engineering side is definitely more advanced what is going on. Marketing side, it's a more of a POC that's going on, because you have to really, you cannot do Gen AI, run your marketing, and then your CAC is basically shot up because Gen AI is there. So you need to have really oversee the activities over there and then run it. That is what I would say. In terms of customer support and in terms of operational activities and all those things, in terms of, let's say, the email customer support and all those things is something that we are looking at in how the emails can be formed basically in a, in an automated way, so that the agent spends lesser time formulating the email and more time in reviewing the email is what it is. So these are all some of the POCs that are going on. Definitely we are also looking far ahead in terms of what do you call it, some of these other, all the support functions, all the internal support functions, how these technologies can be used. That is one of the prime responsibilities of the leadership team that is there. And they need to drive in that value, because a 10% improvement is basically maybe a more improvement in your revenue numbers that you have, right? So leadership team is definitely on top of it.
Thank you, Karthikeyan ji. I think we can take one question from this side. People in this side have not got a chance. I think the gentleman in the green shirt has been raising his hand for a long time. To the gentleman in the green. This will be the final question, and ladies and gentlemen, looking at your questions, I think this is a fantastic panel that went on. But of course, the eminent panel members are available after the session, so you can always take your questions. Yes.
Thank you so much, panel, for the wonderful discussion which was happening. I'm Arnav, I'm representing ESDS Solutions. My question is directed to Karthikeyan sir. Sir, has KreditBee planning to integrate OCEN and account aggregator technologies, which was introduced by the government of India in 2019?
What is the first one? Account aggregator?
OCEN technology, Open Credit Enablement Network.
Okay. So definitely AI is on top. We are definitely integrated with AI, because that forms a very, what do you call it, inherent, it's an inherent activity of the customer journey in terms of, so we have something called credit discovery and pricing discovery, right? In terms of, the more we know about the customer, the better pricing that we can do for the products that we offer, right? So AI is definitely one of the major things that we do in terms of basically getting access to the financial data of the whatever the customer is there. So these AI actually helps us in two ways, in the sense that the speed at which we can do it and the credibility of the data that comes, right? So these two things definitely AI helps. Open Credit Network is something that we are exploring. We have not really, we are still understanding as to how to do it and how to integrate with it and how to run with it, right? We are exploring this thing. So in terms of integration, we are a tech-driven organization. So API integrations happen day and night, right? So for us, integrating the API and getting onto the systems is very fast. But we need to really understand where overall the entire journey where that will sit in is something that we'll have to see.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for this wonderful panel session on AI-powered CX automation, a game-changing technology. Wonderful discussion we had with these eminent panel members, and fantastically moderated by Ms. Mandakini Kumari from Vivriti Capital. Now, I would request Mr. Khamir Purohit, founder and director from Lexicon, to kindly come on stage to felicitate our honorable panel members. Thank you, Mr. Purohit, for doing the honors. We'll start with Mr. Sanjay Jaiswal from Nuvama Wealth. A big round of applause to Sanjay ji for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Karthikeyan Krishnaswamy from KreditBee. A big round of applause to Karthikeyan ji for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Shreevar Narayan from Ecofy. A big round of applause to Mr. Narayan for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. And now we would like to felicitate our honorable panel moderator, Ms. Mandakini Kumari from Vivriti Capital. A big round of applause to Mandakini ji for her wonderfully coordinating the panel session. I would request the panel members to kindly step forward for a group photograph, and Mr. Purohit, if you could also join them. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel session, AI-powered CX automation, game-changing technology. Wonderful discussion we had in this panel. Thank you to all the panel members.